When science writer Jackson Landers started studying black widow spiders, his interest was more than academic. He had discovered a host of them living around his front yard in central Virginia. But little did he expect that one of those spiders would almost get the better of him. Jackson Landers writes about his experience on the cover of Science Times this week, and he joins us now to talk about it. Jackson Landers, welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me, David.
So, what is a black widow spider exactly?
The black widow is a, there's actually a whole group of species, but usually what we're talking about is the southern black widow. It is a spider with a very distinctive, graceful black form. The mature females are black, and they have typically a red hourglass on the bottom. So it's a very striking looking spider. It's one of the few venomous spiders in North America that you really have to worry about. We've got thousands of different types of spiders in North America, and most of them, you just let them go about their business. But the black widow is it's the one you have to really look out for in the eastern U.S.
Why do so few people get bitten?
I think that the black widow, even though it's deadly, it doesn't really want to seek a conflict. You know, they're actually very, I found that they're actually very hesitant to use their venom. I actually had a widow in a jar that was captive on my desk for most of last winter. And I would feed it little crickets and moths and things. And I would watch when I would drop an insect in for her to eat. I noticed that she wouldn't, she was a little bit shy of it, even though this was something that was clearly food. It's a cricket, it's not even a human being. She'd back away from it, look at it for a little while, and then she'd come in and she still wouldn't give it the venom. She would approach it backwards and wrap it up in silk. And then the last thing that she would do would be to inject the venom. So their first instinct is to retreat and avoid an encounter. I mean, if a black widow bites you, it's probably because it's about to be squished. It's going to be a lot better off just kind of moving out of the way.
And this is, you found this out through firsthand experience. Tell us what happened.
I did. Boy. I almost had it coming because I knew that there were black widows there on this porch. I had killed so many of them right there. And so one day I'd been writing all day, I'd been working, and decided I was going to go to my favorite fishing hole to catch dinner. And so I grabbed the shoes off the porch, 3 feet away from where I had wiped out a whole egg sack of black widows a few months earlier. And I put that in my fishing gear in the car. I drove to my spot. I got out of the car. I pulled on the aqua socks, and I took a few steps towards my fishing hole, and I felt something that was like a bee sting. Right? So I walked down and sat down on a rock, and I took off the shoe, and I looked at the bite, and it was just these 2 tiny little pinpricks. When I knew it was 2 pinpricks, something that had bit me, I knew it wasn't a stinger. And the symptoms progressed unlike anything else. It really, after about 15 minutes, I could tell this definitely wasn't a bee sting. I felt a warmth in my abdomen, and first it was sort of a tickle, and it got warmer and warmer, and then that turned into a kind of cramping. And when the cramping started, that was when I knew I had to get out of here. I had to get home or get somewhere where I could, where I wouldn't just be laying in agony, by the water. I think by the time I checked into the ER, I had to be put in a wheelchair, and they weren't going to be able to give me any kind of long duration pain medication. They weren't going to be able to give me, because what the venom is doing is causing pain, it's causing muscle spasms and cramps.
What should somebody do who suspects he or she has been bitten by a black widow?
Have someone take you to the hospital.
Jackson Landers is a science writer and the author of a number of books, including one called Eating Aliens. Can't wait to read that one. Jackson Landers, thanks for coming in to talk about your experience.